G'day hobby heroes. Today we're diving deep into the gritty underhive, spicing up our zone Mortalis bases with hazard stripes. Buckle up for a wild ride as we turn mundane bases into electrifying cautionary works of art. I'm about to spill the secrets on creating eye-popping, danger-infused bases that'll make your miniatures scream. Watch your step, so grab your brushes, dust off your paints, embrace the chaos, smash that like and subscribe button down there, and join me in the zone where every stripe tells a story. Alright guys, as usual we'll start off with our black undercoat. In this case it's Chaos Black, and we'll get a couple of dollops of lead belcher out. While we're doing this we'll also mix it with about the same amount of water, that way it gives a nice even smooth coating. We'll give this 2 coats, so put your first coat on, let it dry, come back, give it a second, and we'll let it dry fully before we move on to the next step. Alright, with the lead belcher now done, we're going to mix up our own wash here. So we're going to use about 2 parts Known Oil to 1 part Agrax Earthshade. We're also going to add to that mix about 50% water just to make it a little bit thinner. We just want it to tint the surface and take the shine off that metal. We just want to dull it down a little bit. By mixing the two together, it's not going to turn it pure black, it's going to make it darker, but it's still going to give it that earthy undertone, so it gives it that dirty look. It's a really nice finish when it's dry. With that now done, we're going to use pure Agrax Earthshade again all over the base. This is just to dirty it up a little bit more. So we use the first wash to make that metal look a little bit less shiny, a little bit more subtle, and now we're just trying to dirty it up. We'll focus into the deepest crevices first and then just spread whatever's left around the rest of the base just to sort of give it a bit of a tint up as well. Alright, with those washes now dry, we can come back and we can start mixing up a bit of Avalan Sunset. Again, we'll mix it up about 50-50 paint to water, and we'll put 2 to 3 good coats of this stuff on. On this one I did 3 because it just needs that little bit extra strength to cover that silver undertones. You may be able to get away with 2 if you apply it a little bit thicker. Best bet though, thin it down, let it flow nicely. Try and avoid the recesses where you've got those bolt holes on the other side there. If it goes in there, it's not the end of the world. We're going to do something later on that's going to go in there and cover it up anyway. So being a painter, I've got plenty of this stuff laying around. It's just general household masking tape. You guys can get it from your local $2 shop or from a hardware store or wherever you can buy masking tape from. Just grab yourself a cheap roll, that's all you need. What we're going to do, we'll grab a ruler. Here I've marked my stripes out to be roughly 3mm in width. So I'm going to make a mark down towards the bottom and a mark up towards the top of the tape. So that way I can run the ruler between the two and slice down it with my knife. That way I've got nice straight even cuts, roughly about the same width. Then we can use that for masking on the base, which I'll show you in a moment. With our yellow now dry and our strips now cut, we'll bring our base back ready to start masking it up. So what we'll do, we'll start just chucking him down over that yellow. We'll give him a light press down and then we'll start putting the next one down. Getting them evenly spaced as close as possible between each of the mask sections of stripe, ready for the next stage. With our masking tape now applied and firmly pushed down, we'll grab some Abaddon Black. Here I've got some already out on the palette, and we will go through and paint all those areas between the tape. We'll give it 2 good coats of some watered down paint, roughly 50-50 mix. With the black now dry, we can pull off our masking tape. So grab your base and wherever you can, just use your fingers to pull it off. If you can't do it with your fingers, just grab your hobby knife like I have in my other hand and you can gently flick up the corner of the tape or the end of the tape and lift it that way. Try not to gouge the knife in and damage any of the paintwork underneath. As you can see, masking tape isn't perfect, so it's an easy fix. Just wherever you've got a little bit of bleed through underneath, grab your Avalanche Sunset and just touch it up. With our hazard stripes now dry and any bleed through touched up, we can move on to the next step. Grab some Seraphim Sepia. What we'll do, we'll chuck that in our palette, but instead of mixing this 50-50 to water, we're going to mix it roughly 2 parts wash to 1 part water so that it's a little bit thicker. And we'll put that all over those hazard stripes just to dirty them up a little bit. The reason we're using Seraphim Sepia, we want it to stay warm across that yellow and not just go a dirty brown like what Agrax Earthshade would cause. So go over that, chuck it in there. If you really want to, you can grab another coat of this stuff and just in certain spots make it a little bit dirtier, like someone's been walking over it or it's been there for a long time. At the end of the day, it is a stagnant surface. It's not going to get clean very much in the underhive or in a war zone anyway. So go nuts on this stage. So with the Seraphim Sepia wash now dry, we'll grab some Mechanicus Standard Grey and we're actually going to start doing a bit of an edge highlight on all that black, just to make the edges stand out a little bit more. So with the black now highlighted, we could do the same thing on the yellow. What we'll do, we'll grab some Uriel yellow and we'll highlight all the edges of the yellow of the hazard stripes. With that now done, it's starting to look great, but it's time to move on and start weathering this up. What we're going to do, we're going to grab one of our good dry brushes and we're going to grab some iron breaker. We're going to wipe most of the excess off on a piece of paper towel or a texture palette, and we'll start our first few strokes focusing down the middle where there's more texture on the base, just to pick up all those grates. We'll try and come in on those hazard stripes, attacking them from the edges. That way we're not going all over the face of the hazard stripes and ruining all that hard work. While you've got this out, just add a little bit of interest to those flat areas of the base. Just give it a little light stipple. You don't want to have a lot of pressure here. Just a few little light jabs onto that flat area will really break it up and give it some really good imitation texture. As you can see here, that base is starting to look really, really nice, but it still looks a bit too clean for a war zone. So what we'll do, we'll move on now and we'll dirty it up a little bit more. So I reckon this is the most fun part of these bases, and this is where they really come to life. What we're going to do, we're going to grab 1 part of Scrag Brown. I'm going to add about 7 parts water to that mix. So this is going to be very, very runny, almost like a wash, but it won't act like a wash. It'll still act a bit like a runny paint. It'll sit in the recesses and it won't really run over the surface, but it will still stain that surface. So what we're going to do here, we're going to target all those recessed areas, wherever that wash is settled from the start of this painting session. We're going to go back over that with some Scrag Brown now. We'll get it right into those recesses, wash it right in there. It doesn't matter if it comes out a little bit on the flat, that's all part of the effect. That's what really makes this cool. You can't stuff this part up. It's everything you do will make this look better now. It'll make it look more war-torn. So run it into those recesses, put a few little dabs onto those flat areas as well, like what I'm doing here. If you find it's a little bit heavy there, just use your finger and just take a little bit of that surface stuff off. Try and leave some of it behind, just a slight tint on that surface. And this is really going to finish this perfectly. With that weathering wash of Scrag Brown now applied, you can see that this is really starting to have that grimy, dirty look to it. So we'll put that aside and we'll let it dry and come back to it when it's done. So with the Scrag Brown now dry, I've chucked a couple of coats of Abaddon Black around that rim just to finish off the edge of the base and clean it up a bit. And as you can see, it really does look amazing. It's a really quick and easy effect to do. And with that, we're done. Now your Zone Mortalis bases are battle ready with those eye-catching hazard stripes. If you enjoyed the journey, hit the like, hit the subscribe down in the bottom corner there, and remember, keep your brushes sharp and may the dice always roll in your favour. Till next time, happy painting in the danger zone.